All right. My name is DeWitt Weston. I am the Community Relations Associate at Aljoya Thornton Place, and I'll be your host today. I'm delighted to introduce Jenny Roben. She has received a Master's of Social Work degree from Simmons College in 2018 and has been working for Era Living since then as a social worker and counselor. She supports residents and resident families in a variety of ways, including discussion and support groups, counseling, and outreach. She has joined us today to present gifts of gratitude. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
All right, thank you, DeWitt. I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. All right, well, thank you everyone for coming. As DeWitt mentioned, my name is Jenny Roben, and I am the social worker counselor here at Aljoya Thornton Place. I've worked here for almost 2.5 years, and am really grateful to be working for a company and in a community that is incredibly supportive of our residents and of the concept of Thrive, which is our mind, body, spirit initiative here. And I feel like just the fact that I'm employed here, that Aljoya and Era Living hires counselors or social workers in each of their communities really speaks to their commitment to the whole person and supporting a quality of life for all of our residents in every aspect possible. So I am so glad that you took the time in your afternoon to join me today for this. And I hope is that it's a little bit more interactive and not just a lecture. And so there will be times when you will be unmuted and have the opportunity to share your ideas, thoughts, or responses to a question that I may pose. I would like to start out by having each of you introduce yourself with your name and perhaps where you are right now, and one thing that you are grateful for in this moment. And if you want to go ahead, I don't see a list of names, so I can't call on people, but if you want to just go ahead and speak out, that would be.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm King Cushman. King and Kathy are people who are on kind of a waiting list over time at Era Living, and we're just thought this was an interesting little good idea given the time of COVID and everything to have some thoughts in this area. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for both of you for joining us. Would somebody else like to speak up?
Too bad she doesn't have a list of people there that she can click on.
It's not mandatory.
There must be a lot of people that are just there.
All right. We can go ahead and move on here then. So we're here to talk about gratitude today. As you all know, we're going to talk about a few different aspects of the concept. What is it? Why is it important? And if it's so important, what can you do to get more of it? The word gratitude comes from the Latin root gratis, which means pleasing, welcome, or thank you. Can anybody think of other words that might, in addition to gratitude, that might stem from this Latin root. And you can use the chat box if you'd like that, especially for those not comfortable speaking. Go ahead and enter in any thoughts or ideas on other words that might stem from the root gratis. Besides gratitude. Gracious is one, thank you. Grateful. Those are good ones. All right, so we have a definition here of gratitude, an emotion of the heart, excited, favor or benefit received, a sentiment of kindness or goodwill towards a benefactor, thankfulness. So this is a definition that was published in Webster's Dictionary. And if you'll notice the date, this definition is almost 200 years old. So curious, wondering if anybody thinks it still is relevant today, almost 200 years later, or if there's anything you would add or change around that. And you can either unmute or speak, you'll be unmuted and you can speak, or if you'd prefer to use the chat box. I'd love to hear your thoughts or ideas on that definition. Still relevant? Anything outdated? Anything you'd change? All right, well, it's nice to see that that definition still stands almost 200 years later. It's a good one. So why is gratitude important? Why bother talking about it? It's a concept that's not new, certainly, but what is a little bit newer is the context in which we're going to be talking about it. And that is due to the positive psychology movement, which really the foundation of that started back in the 60s and 70s. And it was initiated or founded essentially by a researcher, a psychologist who was a researcher named Martin Seligman. And he wanted to shift the focus of traditional psychology from some of the more negative attributes or concepts of the human behavior to a more positive focus. So simple definition of positive psychology is the study of what makes life worth living. So traditionally, psychology focused on more on anxiety and depression and more challenging behaviors, whereas positive psychology started to do some research around behaviors and traits such as happiness, optimism, resilience, and of course, gratitude. So we're going to take a look at some of the research and some of the gifts of gratitude that came as a result or were studied as a result of the positive psychology movement. In one of the first experimental studies that was designed to investigate whether or not expressing gratitude had a positive impact, the participants were broken into 3 different groups. One group journaled about things that they were grateful for. One group journaled about things that annoyed them. And the third group journaled about things that affected them. So it could have been positive, negative, neutral, just had an impact on them in some way or another. They journaled for 10 weeks. And at the end of the 10 weeks, the group that had journaled about things that they were grateful for were more optimistic about their life in general. They reported that they engaged in physical exercise more often than the other 2 groups. And they also reported fewer symptoms of illness than participants in the other groups. So the study really validated the idea that the more frequent expression of gratitude can have positive impact on a person's mental, physical, and emotional health and well-being. Why is gratitude important now? Well, now more than ever, maybe. As King mentioned, with COVID, we're experiencing a global pandemic and times like none of us have ever experienced before. There's a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of loss happening right now for pretty much anyone and everyone on various levels. And on top of that, we are entering into the winter, darker days, um, rainy days, and the holidays where we may not be able to celebrate in the way that we're used to in the past. On top of that, uncertainty in our political arena. So lots going on. And gratitude is something that we can turn to and access now in these challenging and uncertain times. So it's important now more than ever. It's accessible to all. Gratitude it's free. It's something that you can do just by taking a moment to think about things that you're grateful for. It can be as simple as that. So it's accessible to anyone that is willing to just open up and pay attention to what they're grateful for. Gratitude can be past, present, or future oriented, meaning that if a person finds themselves in a situation in their present current situation, they can draw on past experiences that they are grateful for, or maybe contemplate future experiences or future activities that they are looking forward to. And just that act of mentally thinking about those positive experiences can have a positive impact on a person's overall well-being. So let's take a look at some of the little more specific benefits that gratitude can bring. Some of the physical benefits of increased gratitude are lower heart disease, lower incidence of heart disease, lowering of blood pressure, better sleep, and lower levels of cellular inflammation. A study in 2012 showed that those that reported a higher sense of gratefulness in their lives also reported experiencing fewer aches and pains, and they reported feeling healthier than other people who may not express their gratitude as regularly or as frequently. In addition to that, not surprisingly, people who have a higher level of gratitude are also more likely to take care of their health. They're more likely to exercise, as mentioned before, and they're also more likely to attend regular checkups, which in turn can lead to better health and longevity. In another study in 2009, the research showed that thinking about things that you're grateful for before going to bed can help a person sleep longer and feel more rested when they wake up. An additional study in 2011 showed that when people journaled before they went to bed or wrote in a gratitude journal, they experienced better quality sleep as well. As far as the mental benefits of gratitude, there's another list here. Expressing gratitude and having a gratitude practice can reduce anxiety and depression, reduce stress, encourage the development of patience, humility, empathy, things that were studied in positive psychology, and increase resilience. According to a study done at the University of Kentucky back in 2012, The study showed that people with a higher self-reporting of feeling grateful were more likely to behave in a pro-social manner. So if others acted unkindly to them or less than kind, the people who had a greater sense of gratitude were less likely to have feelings of um, retaliation or seeking when they were treated unkindly, even when they were given negative feedback as well. The same participants in that study reported feeling more sensitive toward other people, more empathetic. A study in 2006 in the Journal of Research and Aging showed that older adults who considered themselves grateful experienced fewer negative effects of stress. So not so much that they had fewer stressful events, but their reaction, the way they handled those stressful situations, they handled it in a more positive manner. And there was a study that showed that college students, freshmen in college, when they had reported a higher sense of gratitude, they also had less stress around the transition into that new environment of being away from home and starting college for the first time. So that sense of gratitude has been correlated with their ability to be resilient and reduce the anxiety during a stressful transition. Some of the emotional benefits include reducing feelings of envy and jealousy, and it can improve a sense of gratitude can improve relationships. Um, there's been studies that show that people who are more likely to say thank you to others are more likely to have a larger group of friends, because studies have shown that by saying thank you to someone when a situation doesn't even necessarily warrant it, it creates a connection, and that potentially can lead to a friendship or relationship. There's a study that showed that married couples who thank their partners on a regular basis had reported a deeper sense of connection with their partner, and that makes them feel more comfortable expressing concerns and emotions to their partner when they have a higher sense of gratitude. Studies have shown that managers who say thank you to their employees report that the employees are motivated to work harder. So it's really a win-win situation. The managers are grateful to the employees for increased productivity. The employees are grateful for feeling appreciated. So it's just a positive practice to have all the way around. So now we're going to take a few minutes to do, oh, excuse me. Some people do have a hard time expressing gratitude, and there are a few different reasons for that, or I should say experiencing as well as expressing gratitude. Some people report being too busy and they stop paying attention. So really just kind of going about the day without taking that moment to pause and be aware of what you might be thankful or appreciative of. That can be a barrier. Feeling grateful can make a person feel vulnerable, and that for many people is an uncomfortable feeling, not a feeling they want to bring on themselves. So that would be a reason people may not want to take the time and awareness to think about things that they're grateful for. And then another reason people might have a hard time with gratitude is it can be a reminder of what was lacked in the past. So if someone may have the experience where if they uh, spend time and energy thinking about something that they're grateful for currently, it can be a reminder that they didn't have that thing in the past, and that could lead to feelings of guilt and shame and uncomfortable feelings that people may not want to revisit. All right, so now we are going to try a gratitude activity. And this is a simple activity. If you have a piece of paper and a pen handy, you can write down your thoughts. And if you don't, you can just make a mental list as we go through each of these. So the first task is to list 5 things that you are thankful for. So I'll pause in between so you have a minute or two to think about it and either write it down or just make your mental list. And hopefully you don't have to think too long or too hard to come up with 5 things. The next one is to list 3 people that made your life happier. And then list 3 challenges and what you're learning from them. So it can either be something that's happening currently, like maybe a global pandemic, or something that's happened in the past and what lesson you may have learned. And then the last one is to recall and write, or if you're not writing, just imagine one of your fondest memories. All right, so this is another opportunity where you will be unmuted and have the chance to share. I'd love to hear if anybody was willing to share something from your list, either any of the 4 categories or pick one and share an item or 2.
I'm very thankful for my son, and I'm very thankful that I am employed, since I know a lot of people are having challenges during this time, that I'm healthy because so many people are, coming down with COVID-19, and I've been very lucky. I had a kitty that was recently sick, and I'm grateful that he's going to be okay. So there's a few things.
Great, thank you.
Do we
Anybody?
just speak up?
Yes, please.
Okay. We're thankful for certainly each other as spouses. We've been 50 plus years.
Nice.
And for our children, who are wonderful, a couple of those, and for some extended family members, siblings. And we're lucky enough to have good health and be in a good position.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. There's one in the chat here from Mariah. She's thankful for her job, her family, her friends, her home, and her well-being. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? This is something that can be done quickly and is just a nice positive activity that can be done to help focus and bring to mind some of the positive things in your life. So hopefully this is an idea that you can keep in mind and take with you after we're done here. We'll talk a little bit about ways to increase gratitude in your life. There's some different ideas out there that have proven to be helpful and effective. One is a routine of morning and or evening meditation or prayer. Another idea is to have a gratitude journal. And that can be something that is kept at the bedside, and maybe there's a ritual around writing it every morning or every evening, or kept somewhere a little more accessible, like in the kitchen, where anytime something comes to mind, it's right there for you to just jot down. And then the nice thing about that is if it's written down, you can go back and revisit it. If you're feeling low or down or anxious, it can be a tool to go back to remind yourself and bring to mind some of the more positive things in your life. The next one is to choose gratitude. So that's something as simple as being in a situation where you can look at it in different ways, and maybe it's a challenging situation, and just to have the frame of mind or the presence of mind to choose to be grateful about a situation. So kind of looking at the positive side of something as opposed to what could be looked at in a negative way. Create a gratitude jar. So this would be a jar that where you would have little slips of paper close by, and when something pops into mind that you are grateful for, you could just write it down and put it in the jar. And then again, like with the journal, because it's written down, it's something that you could go back and reflect on at a later time. Maintain a gratitude calendar. So if you have a calendar in your kitchen or at your desk, every day making it a point to write down one thing that you're grateful for. Keeping a list just for 1 week, if the idea of doing something every day indefinitely it seems like too big of a commitment or a unrealistic expectation of yourself, you can try just taking 1 week and committing to keeping a list of everything you're grateful for that happens or comes to mind during that particular week. Another idea is to send a thank you note or email. Doesn't need to be about anything specific. Doesn't have to be that somebody gave you something or did something for you, but just an acknowledgement of your gratitude that that person's a part of your life. And then the last one here is to just have a discussion with a friend or a family member. So reach out and ask your friend or family member what they're grateful for, or and share with them what you're grateful for. And studies have shown that if the effort to increase gratitude includes an actual behavior, so not just writing down, but writing and then sending the note, there's the behavior there can boost a sense of gratitude even more. All right. Well, this is a quote that I thought by Maya Angelou that I thought was just a nice way to wrap up. This is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before. I feel like that expresses the sense of gratitude for something as simple as starting a new day. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts they'd like to share, either in the chat or in the conversation? All right. Well, my name is Jenny Roben, and if you have any questions or thoughts, if you'd like some additional resources or the references of articles and studies that I used for this presentation, feel free to reach out. Either I have my contact information here. You could always get in touch with me through Mariah or DeWitt. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Jenny. We really appreciate the time you took today and all the knowledge you shared with us in your presentation. Well, if no one has any more questions, I think it's time to wrap up. So I will email a copy of the slide, of the presenter slide, to all the attendees, and we will also include a survey that we'd like you to fill out and tell us about your experience and how we can better the experience for our up and coming webinars. And with that, my name is DeWitt Wesson. I'm with Aljoya Thornton Place, and I thank you all for joining us today, and have a great day. All right.